Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight will be. And all morning it's been cloudy, and wow, now the clouds moved away and the sun is coming out and the birds are out there doing their things. They were doing that before, but man, it is beautiful to see the sun. I hope you're getting out in nature like Starlight will be. And I've been in and out today, and this is so beautiful. Now I'm so excited. I can't wait to get out there and absorb some of that sun. And anyway, I love you all. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight. And that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you can also check out my playlist. Plus, don't forget, you could share my videos with your family or friends, a dog, a cat, and if you would like to send me a picture or a small little video of any pet that you have, not your family, not your husband, wife, but any pets like a dog, a cat, or a snake. You got a pet snake? Can I hold it? Starlight wants to hold a pet snake as long as it's a pet. So yes, you can by sending it on my Instagram or on my Facebook. And on Instagram, that's 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. So, and also before I start is thank you to all of you who have been there loving and supporting Starlight from either the before I even started YouTube. Hello out there to you. At least I know one person. There might be other people that was on my YouTube Facebook page seeing crazy stories out there way back then. Wow, yeah, those were crazy stuff that Starlight started out. Starlight didn't know any better, but thank you for watching me and loving and supporting Starlight here. And also all of you that have been there from the beginning, in between, and maybe you just recently discovered me on YouTube. And thank you all of you who have been watching my videos, subscribing, or leaving me a comment down below, or even sharing my videos. So today is really to really, this is inspiration video. It's to help you by, a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves, thinking that we're not doing enough, we're not good enough, we're feel like we're, the way society has taught us, and our, like the way we were brought up, being always pushed and, criticized for this and judged for that. So this video is to really help you to, like, let's go, ready, go time traveling. So yes, let's time travel, okay? And it's okay to go visit the past, but you don't want to stay there, okay? It's all right to say, okay, I was there, and now, we can get back in the present moment. So right now we're in the present moment, and we're just going to go back 10 years from now. And so think back, like, I'm not sure what year COVID happened, because that was my wake up call. That was my wake up call. You know what? COVID was one of the greatest things that happened for me. Some of you will be like, what? Look at what it did. Like, man, I had to spend time with my family. I lost my job, I lost relationships, everything, went like a hurricane hit it, but sorry, because Starlight's got problems clearing her throat right now. That's why I got my magic potion here. So, yeah, so where were you around that time of, COVID? And I'll tell you what, we're getting back to that time before COVID where, actually I'm really impressed with this library here, is that they sanitized this table before I got in this room. Yay for the library. This is one of my favorite libraries I've ever been into right here. So yay for the library people here that they're doing an amazing job by, knowing, hey, people are getting sick. It's time to sanitize things again. And so now, what happened to you during that time with COVID? Where were you then? Is your life, has it changed anything in your life? Was it a negative? Or maybe, there's times that we get confused. We think because, we lost a job or this or that happened that it's all bad, bad. Like it go bad. It's all bad. But it's not. Things happen for a reason, is that, we got to take, what people would say, the good and the bad. And there's really no difference really on the good or the bad. It's kind of hard to understand that. I didn't understand that my whole life is, I'm like, that was a bad thing that happened to me. And that was a good thing that happened. And that was a bad thing. That was a good thing. And it goes on, throughout our lives that we can look at things as bad or good and bad, bad and good, good and bad. But really you think about it, when COVID came, there's families that weren't even really spending time with each other. There's not enough time out there, even though we all have the same time. But when people are sending their kids to school, and then now with my grandson, I have to say things are different because he's so young. He's in kindergarten right now. Yay! So he's learning his ABCs and learning how to write, but with a lot of families that have kids, a husband and wife, or even maybe you might be a single mom or a single dad, because that's normal these days. That's not anything, strange these days. But, so if your kids are in school, a lot of times they go to school and then the school has a sport activity after school, and it could be all through the week, so many times out of the week. It could be on the weekends. And then there's some people, not everybody, but you might be a person that goes to church. Then you're in church. And so how much time do you really spend with your family when you're, and how is it at the house, like the husband and wife, do you even have a relationship with that person? Or are you too busy out working? There's people that they can't wait to get out of the house just to go to work. I know, isn't it sad? I can't wait to hurry up and get out of here. But COVID to me was, amazing. I did get COVID during that time, and it's kind of funny. It's right when I got out of my comfort zone and did something different that, bam, that's when I got COVID. Is I went in a hotel my first time by myself. Starlight is not a fan of hotels or motels because I used to clean in some of those, and I know some of the things that they don't do that they should do. And that place was nasty. I knew it when, on the glass, the whole door, it had germs all over. And that was during COVID time, and there's other things. When I went into the bedroom, Starlight is an investigator. I know a lot of hotels or motels don't even change the blankets. They change the sheets and pillowcases, but a lot of times the blankets are not being changed. So I was trained a long time ago, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. They would just inspect the top of the blanket, make sure there was no dirt or hair on it, Okay, we'll just leave that back on there. They did not clean the blanket. So Starlight seen evidence of uncleanness in the room, so I was like totally losing it. But, and that's how I ended up, it's either there or the Chinese restaurant that I went into after that or before that. Actually, it would have been before that because then I would have been going in a hotel after. And bam, that restaurant was dirty. I seen the dirt, I was a cleaner. So, but how are things now in your life, like what has changed, and right now, there's some places out there that they're slacking on far as being clean and all that stuff. So right now it's cold season. So, is to, think of, I'm saying all this cold season right now. So really watch out, and germs are everywhere. Everywhere you go, everywhere, they're everywhere. So be careful out there when it comes to catching a cold. And sometimes there's no way of getting around it. But during COVID time, because of all that stuff with COVID and where the kids couldn't go to school and they had to go home, you know. I mean, imagine, I don't even know if they made a movie. I always thought they should have had a movie for that, all the different stories and crazy stuff that happened during COVID, how it just swiped everybody's life, or mixed it all. It's like a tossed salad. We all got tossed in the salad, and I don't know, how was your life before COVID, during, and after? Did anything change during that time? Because that was my wake up call. That was when that happened. That was like, we better freaking, snap out of this stuff. We better wake up and understand what's going on, So, but my life changed for the better. Even though I lost a lot of things, I wasn't even on the right track. I wasn't where I was supposed to be, So when COVID, I thought it was a beautiful thing in so many ways because it brought families. A lot of parents, and I was not one of those parents at all. I loved my kids, and I still do. They're not kids anymore, they're adults, but, I didn't want my kids to go to public school. But during COVID, a lot of these kids had to go home, and a lot of parents, if they didn't want to take the injection, they could have lost their job, and they could have been stuck, doing their job at home, which I thought that was a great thing. I'm like, yes. Then there was people that might have had a hard time adjusting to being home with their family, but then, you know what? They're like, this isn't that bad. I actually like being home instead of going at work and hearing all the gossiping and drama and backbiting, and all the nitpicking stuff at work, where it brought them back at their home. It brought, it gave them more time to spend with their family. And then there's a lot of families that decided that they didn't want to send their kids to school anymore during that time. Starlight was in a friend relationship during that time. You know what? It was the best thing that happened to me at that time, is that God took that right out of there, and I am so grateful because God had someone out there so amazing for Starlight that it was worth it all. Every bit of pain, every bit of tears that I shed throughout that time of COVID, thinking, I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And God mixed everything up so perfectly in my life. I had my own cleaning business and everything was spiraling downhill on that. But look at where I am now. And you might not really understand where Starlight is now. And a lot of people, they think it's all about material stuff. How much stuff do you have? Guess what? That's not what's important. So if you think, Starlight, you don't even have a house, but you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry to say this, but I'm happy to say this. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life right now where God has me. And that's living in my car. It's not about having stuff. And I was teaching that to my grandson. It's not about stuff. It's about creating happy memories that will last forever. Stuff it comes and it goes. It gets old, it gets rusted, somebody steals things, That's, Starlight's not all wrapped up into stuff. Even though I had a lot of arts and crafts stuff, but, it's building strong relationships with people, whoever you have in your circle. That's what it's about. Whoever you have in your family, building up, strong families where they are not bickering back and forth, that they're actually working together the way God really wants it to be. But where were you way back then and during COVID time? Did anything, did you have a hard time with what was going on? Did you take the injection? Or were you one of those people that says, no, this is my body, I don't want to be doing that? And if you took it, you took it. It was just a lesson. But if you didn't take it, and you stood firm for yourself and you didn't go and you didn't, just like a tree, I have a picture somewhere on my computer, just like a baby tree, they can't just plant that baby tree, without having some stakes and having some wire to have it so it can grow up nice and straight. It has to have the stakes and the wire So then when the wind comes, it doesn't fall, because that's what it would do. It would just, the wind would flop it, and then it's going to do its own funky thing if it didn't get, and that's why sometimes you see trees out there, because they grow in the wild, and it's like, wow, they're really funky looking trees out there because they weren't being trained to really face the winds, and the storms, and that is what you got to be strong in this life, because you're going to have people that are going to tell you what to do or put fear in your life, and you got to be strong. Like if another COVID came or another pandemic, you got to be strong. Do what you want to do. You don't want to take the injection? Guess what? You don't have to take the injection. Don't let other people make the choice for you. God gave us all a free will to decide on our own whether we want to or not. And I didn't take it personally because, number one, I didn't know where the frick it came from. At first time, I was with somebody during that time, just a friend, and I was hearing the news all the time. At one point, they didn't even have any injections, and before I know it, it just came out of the air, and there it was. And I'm thinking, how do they know it even works? How do they even know? Well, the people that took it, they, and sorry to say this, but just like doctors, a lot of us might have been or might be now, guinea pigs. They use people to be guinea pigs. Some people get paid to be guinea pigs. Hey, sign me up. I've actually had people that they seen that I needed money, and I couldn't believe it. It was a religious place that I went to, and she's like, hey, if you want money, you know what? They have this thing that you can test out medications and get paid for that. I was like, do you, really? I just couldn't believe it. Why did she tell me that? I should have signed up, right? No, why would I want to sign up to be a guinea pig and get paid for it? That's my life. That's my well-being. Are they gonna, like, what would the paperwork look like? Hey, anything bad happens to you, we're not responsible for it. Like, enter at your own risk. They have places for swimming. Swim at your own risk. If something happens to you, hey, we're not paying for any of that stuff. And that would the money really be worth, being a guinea pig? But this way, what they did is it was that, they put fear out there to scare the heck out of people. And knowing people that have different health issues, the age and all that stuff, is to put that fear out there and just repeat it over and over again to scare the heck out of people. And then you got people that are so afraid, they put their fears out on other people. I've had people that worked at a hospital. I had to go get a mammogram somewhere during that time. And I was amazed. This lady works at a hospital. She had to ask these questions, because when after COVID, everything changed at the hospital. The questions weren't the same. Did you take, the injection? No. And that lady said, I am so proud of you. And I'm like, you're the first person that ever said that, and you work at a hospital? I give that lady a clap because I was impressed. I was like, wow, she wasn't trying to, put some fear out there, trying to control me and all that stuff. So, I was amazed that she was right with me. She didn't take it either. She didn't want nothing to do with it. She knew enough, being a doctor, not to do that. Knowing the medical field and stuff like that, she knew better not to do that. So, you gotta really don't go by other people. Like I was saying about that tree, is that you can get blown away by the cares of this world, by what other people, hey, you ought to hurry up, you ought to get, you got to get that jab, you got to get another jab, got to get, and before you know it, you're falling over to hearing what everybody else is saying, and they're putting their fears onto you, getting you afraid. I had people left and right, all of us must have had people left and right, trying to convince us, maybe family members. I didn't have any family members. All my family members did not want nothing to do with the COVID. But of course, there was family members that felt that they had to because they would have lost their job. And Starlight knew with her company when I was cleaning, people were threatening that they would not. I mean, I lost all my clients during that time, and they were really wanting me to get the injection or I wouldn't be able to work for them. Guess what? If you think you're going to force me to go get the injection to work for you at your house, I will. I know where the door is. I will walk right out the door, because they were putting their fears on me, not thinking about me as a human being, that I have rights and I have choices. So, where how has your life gone after COVID? And people get upset when we have things like that happens in the world, but there's times that people, they get lost in the world. They're you know, not really caring for what really matters, like their families, spending time with their families. They're too busy out there chasing the dollar bill, chasing money, working for a boss, not even doing things in the right order. And you might be wondering what order, and I just seen a bunch of a group out here nearby. Hang on, Starlight's got to get some water here. And it was a bunch of little girls and boys, and they went into a bathroom at a gas station with a whole group, and it must have been like a Christian school, and all their shirts said, "Put God first, others after." Now that was a good note, but a good sign, a good message, but really God first, then you, then your closest loved ones next, like a husband or wife, a boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend, your children, or whoever, grandpa, grandma, whoever you consider the close, depending on who you had as a family, then it would be like, your boss, and then everyone else. And this is what happens. People are putting other people before their family. They're putting other people before God. They're not being grateful for the things they have. They're not being grateful, I noticed when I was younger with my daughter is if you neglect your children, if you ignore your children and you're not there for them, guess what? Things happen. Things can happen to your children. You're like, but you know what it teaches you? It's like, you know what? I need to be there more for them. And that's what the COVID is. It's like a wake-up call. It's like, you're kind of getting out there a little bit too far. You're not really thinking of what really matters. It's not about material stuff like the way the Hollywood stars and the way the society has taught us, and that's why I am so grateful for COVID, because it totally changed my life. It might have took that friend that I thought was a friend, which was really a joke after I learned, like, even though I knew him for a long time, but that's not who God had for me. God has an amazing spirit being out there that is perfect for me. But all that had to happen, like letting go is not easy. But when God replaces those things or people with something so much greater, you appreciate everything even more. And you know what? That means it's a lot of work. To have those kind of things or people in your life, that means that you got to work. You're going to be, God wants to bless us with so many things in our life, like, a loved one, or, the job that you would love to have, that you're happy to go to, the family that you'd like, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Where are you right now? Have you grown? That's what's important. Have you grown? Have you been growing? Have you been focusing on yourself? It's not about the material stuff. It's not about the house, the car. It's about you. And it's about, do you know who you are? Do you know what you believe? Can you say no? What kind of people do you spend time with? What are you working on with yourself? Are you working on anything about yourself? What are the areas that you're focused on now? Or are you getting distracted in life, letting the wind of the world, to knock you down? And that's why, pandemics come to kind of shake shit up. kind of get us like, that, you could have been in a bad relationship that was not meant for you. You could have been at a job that God didn't, that was not what God really wanted for you. And so it is not really a good or bad. It's that, we can think something is bad, but later on when we realize that it really was to help us out. And that's what, it's like tough love. I made a video not too long ago about it. And I noticed not very many people gave it a thumbs up. They don't want tough love. What happens is people get spoiled and they want things handed to them. They don't want to work for things. And that's what you got to watch out. You got to work for stuff. You got to work to earn what God wants to bless you with. It's not just handed to you. There's a lot of people out in the world. They think the world owes them something, and they sit and they collect welfare money or government money because they think, hey, I don't have to do anything. I could just get it all free. Yeah, you can do that. But you know what? What are you passing down to your family? What are you passing down to your kids? What are you teaching them as far as why we're here? What are we doing here? Are you being that example to your family, your kids? How is your relationships? Are you respecting them? Are you grateful for them? That's when shit happens, is when we take people for granted and we're not doing the work. And we're not taking God, we're not appreciating what God has done, our health, our safety. And that's when the wind comes, and the storms come, because we're not really focused on really what God is doing in your life and being grateful and being thankful for the things that you have instead of worrying about getting more. Are you grateful for the things that you have right now? Are you grateful for the family members or friends that you have in your life right now, but you want more? Because a lot of people, they spoil their kids rotten, and it really messes them up. And then they think that's the way life is because some family member didn't get very much when they were younger, and they worked so hard to get that job and get that money, and all they wanted to do is, they thought the right thing was to do is to spoil their kids because they didn't have anything. Well, spoiling your kids rotten is not the way to go. It's only going to ruin them, and they're going to go out in the world and they're going to think, material stuff. They're not going to really value you as a human being because they're only going to think about what you can give me. Not about, hey, I want to spend time with you and have it relate, have that closeness with you. So I love you so much. Where are you today? Have you been working on yourself? And give yourself a clap if you're like, hey, I am doing better. Yeah, you're right. When I was, during COVID time, I was at this job and it turned, I didn't even like the job. I was going through a lot of stuff, a lot of stress. Now I got this other job and maybe things are going better now in your life. Maybe you were in relationships that you were in or being around people and that just rocked the boat and now they're not in your life anymore. I thank you God for rocking the boat for me, because you took people out of my life that I thought I needed. You rearranged things in my life, like it's like moving furniture around in the house, it's like everything got rearranged. And now it's like, I love my life. I never could say that before, but I can now. And it's not about material stuff. It's not about a house. It's not about having beautiful clothes and all that. It's not about the car. It's about who you are. I love you so much. This is Starlight. You could give this video a thumbs up. And you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family or friends. A goat? Mad. Yes, you could share my videos with a goat and a sheep. Well, I was like, goat and sheep. Plus, you can also check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So think about where you are right now. Are there some things that you need to kind of tighten back up again so we don't have another pandemic? Are there things that are slacking right now? This is the time to really pull things back, start cleaning up again, get things back to normal. Because I just seen a lady this morning, I think. I went into a McDonald's. We both went in the McDonald's bathroom at the same time. She was an employee. And we both went to the bathroom. And she came out, never cleaned her hands. Went back to work. People are watching, whether you know that or not. People are listening. Some people think, hey, she doesn't have to see me washing my hands. So I'll just, but I can hear. I can hear that the water never got turned on. So we need to clean things up. We need to tighten things back up. We need to appreciate the ones that we have in our life. We need to be thankful and thank God. Thank God for your life. Thank God for your safety. When I was around my family, every day I was praying for their safety and their protection when they left, when they went out and they got in their car. People take that shit for granted. They really do. Count your many blessings, because there's so many. I can't even count with all the blessings that God has blessed me with on a daily basis. So I love you so much. The Starlight Namaste, the Starlight, love, light, and peace.